Okay, sad to say, but officially, I lost a friend, a dear friend that has been with me for over 10 to 12 years, maybe even a little bit longer. I have to look that up to make it official, but I would say at absolutely minimal 11 to 12 years. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about the friend that I lost, my friend, Mr. Refrigerator. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What? What? Oh, Janet. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hi, this is Jan. Welcome to another episode on the Save Money and More with Jan channel. How you doing today? Hope that everyone is doing well as always. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I might have been goofing around and everything, but truly, we really underappreciate refrigerators, in my honest opinion. It's just like that, cute little thing in your, kitchen, usually in kitchens, right? Or if it's in your RV, whatever, that little refrigerator, humble little appliance that does absolutely so much. Refrigerator and freezer, of course, are vital to keeping our food safe and fresh as long as possible. And we kind of sort of take them for granted. Now, not myself, because I was always on top of my refrigerator in terms of, keeping it clean and trying to keep it as organized as I can. And I do think, in my honest opinion, that's very helpful to prolong the quote and the quote shelf life of a certain appliance or any appliance for that matter, trying to treat it as great as possible. And it did its best, but unfortunately, it gave out its last breath not long ago. I heard some funny noises. I said, "What on earth is that?" And what I didn't hear, that like kick on noise when the ignition goes on in your fridge? I'm going to call it ignition, all right? But like that sort of like that's, silent to almost just about bearable uh, rumbling sound that that your refrigerator is working. So I said, this is odd. I'm not hearing that. So when I checked my stuff in the freezer, well, the freezer was working just fine. Or so I thought, at any rate. I still heard the noise. I still felt like the cold, chilly air coming through the freezer vents and all that. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's just me, whatever. But in the summertime, there are probably more power surges. I do have, surge protection, but you still, I don't know. I think it just, lived its last breath, if you will. But then I noticed the refrigerator, no, was not kicking in. It was not. It just said prayers over it. I literally prayed over my refrigerator on the day that it had to go to refrigerator heaven, and it's a very good refrigerator, and it did its thing for a number of years, and I am very very grateful for that. So thank you, refrigerator. But I wasn't grateful to having to deal with food waste. One of my pet peeves in life is food waste. I don't like it. I try everything possible. So what I did before it, would go too badly, at least the frozen stuff, I gave some away, to neighbors and stuff of that matter. You probably so why didn't you keep it for yourself? Well, there's only so much that I could cook out of it and then eat from it, and then what? Where am I going to store it? See where I'm going with that? So inevitably, it was just better. But here is where, and I know I spoke about this very briefly in another video, but I want to get more into depth in this. This is when, in addition to appreciating our humble refrigerators, we should also appreciate our shelf stable food stockpile of groceries. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not going to go without breakfast today. One thing I did recover, I recovered a dozen eggs, and what did I do with them? I boiled them. I turned them into hard boiled eggs. Okay, so then I had my protein for breakfast, a couple of hard boiled eggs. So I was very very happy with that. And I noticed when you make Easter eggs and you put them in the basket, people leave their hard boiled eggs in the basket like 2 days. It's not a big deal. So that was shareable, easy to do, and a good fast source of protein. Just thought I'd mention that to you. Um, but yeah, I mean, what I didn't have was a cooler where I could have kept some of the stuff. But humans, we make mistakes. Would have been a great idea. So, but it's really like it's officially gone. Then the next morning, when I checked on the freezer, I saw that my frozen strawberries were leaking. Okay, that's a good indicator. Then I was touching the meats and they were like semi thawed. Some I thought. No, some of it I, rescued and cooked, not tons of it because I can't have tons of it. And I wrapped up the remainders, and like I said, blessed others that they could have that. So thankfully, nothing goes to waste. No food waste. But this is when I really, really appreciate all the times, little itty bitty Janet, with her meager wages and this and that nature, and I put away my, little by little, squirreling, if you will, using that phrase. I squirreled away in my stockpile. I mean, okay, it's not the most glamorama food, but it's food and it's shelf stable. So nobody goes hungry. I had tons of bread and, like bread products, you see, in the fridge. So, for example, I could toast my English muffin. Can't put butter on it, but I could just flavor it up. Get a little nonstick spray. Get creative. Sprinkle some garlic powder or something on there, and it makes it crunchy and flavorful. Okay, you see where I'm going. Take a little can of tomato sauce and do a little bit of a makeshift no cheese pizza to give away a bunch of cheese. So yeah, yeah, but grateful, of course, absolutely great. This is why it's imperative. It's not just, I'm going to go beyond important. Honestly, it is imperative to keep some items of food that are shelf stable, even for that reason, even if you don't have, quote, end of quote, an official stockpile, if you will. Okay. But you know what? Your stockpile is actually everything. Your stockpile includes, under normal circumstances, your refrigerator, your freezer, the stuff that you put away on your shelves in your pantry. Okay, so it's not just right away. Most of us think right away of just the stuff that we store for longer term use, our pantries or our basements or wherever it is that we create a space, or even an old closet that turned into a walk-in pantry type thing. Gets very, very, very creative. It is so important. So I didn't fret, I didn't despair. I knew, well, I don't have to rely on restaurants. I am not going to, and I mean this, I make frugal choices. I don't just sit here and spew out hot air when I talk about frugal choices in life. I will not and refuse to spend money on restaurants until my new refrigerator comes in. I'm not doing that. No, 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 no. Not doing that. I refuse to do that. Not going to happen. No. Instead, good old canned stuff. Get creative. Just flavor it up. Season it up. Or where I'm going with this. So canned chicken works. I'm totally okay with that. Canned chicken with a little bit of a like Italian dressing. Italian dressing does not require refrigeration. Okay. So let's say that I have a little bit left in a bottle that was in the fridge, and like maybe a day or so later, throw it on a little bit of my chicken or tuna, and I flavor it up. And you got to get creative. Canned soups, canned stews, even good old canned spaghetti and meatballs. No, it's not like the kind my mom made, but guess what? It'll do. It'll do when you need. Or if you're the type of person that likes meat. Now I like a certain brand of beans. Okay, it's really, really good. It's a little on the expensive side, I would say, but the way they marinate those flavors, to me, it's like, oh, such a treat. Where I rather get that and eat it as opposed to getting something I dislike because I don't like the way they flavor it or whatever. That's just me. That's just me. We all have little quirks in life, and you know, we're all entitled to a little bit of what I consider a treat. Isn't it funny? I consider flavored canned beans a treat. Goes to show how frugal I am. But if I could get it at a better price, that's when I'm going to grab them, and that's when I'm going to stockpile them. And as far as protein goes, good old peanut butter. You can't go wrong with a peanut butter sandwich. And always keep crackers in the house. I just happen to have bread, okay? But if you do not have bread, uh, crackers last about, according to experts, they say 6 months. But guess what? I've had situations where I've had crackers maybe a couple of months even past that, and they were fine, still crunchy, still fresh tasting. And there's one specific brand that I even showed to Steve. I mentioned it to him on a video chat one day. I said, Steve, you gotta try XX brand of this kind of saltine type cracker. He loved them so much, right away he ordered some more. So yeah, it's from that company that begins with letter A. It's on their brand, whatever their brand is. Some of it's called a Fresh, or some Happy Belly, whatever the terminology. I think they're in transition with those names, but their saltine crackers to me are superior to the nationally uh, famous and favorite one. Absolutely, it was a shocker. It was really, really a shocker. But keeping things like that on your shelf. That another thing, like I had, plenty of, little pastas. Why do people get ramen noodles? Well, number one, price. Okay, the availability. Okay, and then sometimes it's not available. Believe it or not. But when people are concerned about hard times, it's a great thing to start your stockpile with. But here's the number one reason I like those packets, because they are individual. Okay. So let's say one person, their refrigerator is down, they ordered a new one. It's not going to come for a few days. Is that in between? Where they don't have to make an entire box of spaghetti. Or they don't have to go into that big box of spaghetti. Just make the ramen noodles. The ramen noodles, that is absolutely, absolutely a great alternative choice. And if you're concerned about, oh my gosh, but what about fruits? Canned fruits, that's why we buy them. If you're concerned about vegetables, canned vegetables, it's not going to be the end of us if we, have some canned fruits or vegetables. I lived on them my whole life. I'm still here to talk about it. When I say lived on them, I don't mean every minute of the waking day. But if I have a couple of cans throughout the week of a canned vegetable or a canned fruit, hey, I'm still here to talk about it. Thank you so much, Jesus. I'm just saying. So not to fret, not to worry. Just get creative when you're throwing a meal together. I mean, you could get, like, for example, I also have my mashed potatoes, mixed vegetables, things of that nature. For example, also, like, let's say you want some protein for breakfast and your fridge is gone. You're living off your stockpile, so you open up a can of spam and you fry up some spam. Nothing wrong with that. Some spam on a piece of toast. There you go. I mean, with a little mustard if you like. I'm just saying. So, yeah, creativity, but be prepared. We do not have to get concerned about, the great, great, great things that, negative things that people discuss. Okay. Negative, but entirely possible. I'm just saying. But just like think about like simple instances. My refrigerator decided to go bye bye on its own. Okay, hey, it's a friend that gave me a lot of service, and it always happens when you least expect it. Was I ready for that to happen? I was unready in terms of, oh no, now I have to figure out what to do to manage the existing groceries that were in there, the food. But as far as being able to get one, yeah, thank you, Jesus. But we have to always look ahead. Isn't it better to look ahead and err on the side of caution, as opposed to saying, nothing's going to happen? And then the day comes when your refrigerator says, bye bye.